right, you glorious and miserable accursed, we're back. The Curse of Politics panel with a full complement on Thursday, April the 10th. Jordan Leichnitz, Kory Teneycke, Scott Reid, myself, David Herle, and from Politico, Nick Taylor-Vasey to tell us what's going on the campaign trail. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Morning, David. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent.
Good.
I'm excellent.
Defanned?
Defanned. It's all quiet on the Western Front.
Right, now there's an inside joke nobody will get. Anyway, it's a great way to start off the show, Scott. Alienate all listeners.
That's why I'm here.
There's a segue to Western alienation there that I could speak to for a good period of time after a few days out here.
Well, I'm a fan. Go for it.
Nick, what should we expect on the trail today?
Mark Carney, the Liberal leader, is waking up in Toronto. He's going to Brampton for an announcement, and then he is headed down the highway to Hamilton. I believe he's the last of the three leaders we talk a lot about who's going to be in Steeltown.
And what's he doing today? What's he up to?
Announcement, and then greeting supporters and volunteers. That is the bare bones that we have at our disposal.
Okay.
Pierre Poilievre is in Milton today for an announcement, and then he is holding, once again, an evening rally, and once again, near an airport. It looks like a potentially hangarish style structure.
Is there any logic to the locations that they are choosing? Because they're not the downtown arena. They are like out kind of in the boonies, right?
Yeah, but this one's out in sort of like rural Waterloo region. I mean, it's next to the airport, but then it's also next to farmland, and that is the part of that region where the Conservatives are competitive. I don't know if that sort of scale of proximity plays into it, but it's the kind of spot that they have been picking. Yeah, it's in Woolwich, technically Woolwich, Ontario.
Wonder how many rural people they're drawing to these rallies.
Well, it's incredible when you go to these things and you talk to people and you say, "Where are you from?" And the people in Hamilton weren't all from Hamilton, and the people in Kingston are not all from Kingston. They're traveling far and wide to find their guy. So it's I'm imagining this is a southwestern Ontario, drawing from all corners kind of thing.
Right.
Milton, is where they're there. Like, look, if you're having to,
Kory's having a medical emergency. Milton.
Milton.
Oh, my arm's twitching.
Now, Milton is like suburban Peel, right? Like, this is not an agricultural place. That's like it's I don't know. Like, look, it's Peel region.
Well, Milton is this morning, and then this rally is. I mean, yeah, it's next door to Kitchener. Like, this is not.
Yeah, that's further.
Yeah, but
Woolwich. It's in Woolwich.
Woolwich.
I don't know. Milton being agricultural is not, it's like Mississauga, the farm country. No,
I wasn't applying. Hey, Kory, I wasn't applying anything.
Come on, you guys.
I wasn't applying anything. I was just trying to question why they were choosing the locations.
All three listeners left are going to email you a map, guys.
All right.
Okay, let's see if you have any more luck with where Singh is today, or we're going to kick the shit out of that too.
Saskatoon, still.
Suburban Toronto, Saskatoon.
That's a bedroom community.
Right. It's close. People coming from all over.
Just a bit of a commute.
Singh draws folks from all across the country to his rallies.
Winnipeg and Edmonton and all over the whole region.
He's booked in some time with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, so that's on the go for him. And then Blanchette, Quebec, and I think we deserve to speak for about 5 seconds about Elizabeth May, because she is on a Via Rail whistle stop tour through Quebec and New Brunswick today. It's New Brunswick Day, and she has a rally and some sort of event in Fredericton to end the day. So Look at that, cross country, semi-national, quasi-regional tour.
Right. Is it like RFK's funeral train? Are there like thousands and thousands of people lined beside the train?
I think you're
it's
half
okay.
right.
She says other parties in trouble, but not the Greens. Don't worry. It's fine.
And the great thing about the Greens is that if one of them goes down, there's someone there to take over immediately, right? It's they've got a co-pilot. This jet's going to be landed.
That they'll bring stability. Yeah. All right, Nick. Thank you very much. I want to direct our listeners to go to Politico, the Ottawa Playbook, check out the review of yesterday and the forward look to today. Thanks for coming on, Nick. It's great to see you. We're almost through this week. We've almost made it, man.
We've almost made it. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. I have polling. Who wants it?
Yeah, give it to me. If you start, you ruin these polling updates because most days you go, all right, not much new to report. And then you report. Don't do that. Don't piss on the parade, buddy. Just give it to us nice and straight.
Polera Polling is brought to you by Enbridge, a leading Canadian energy infrastructure company, reliably and affordably fueling your quality of life and powering our economy. So,
this pod should be officially called "We're Getting Tired." That's the stage of the campaign, right? Getting a little tired.
The doldrums are not just for the campaign.
Christ almighty. All right. From Friday, April the 4th through Wednesday, April the 9th, 2,140 cases, mix of live interviewer and online. Liberals 46. Conservatives 35. NDP 8. Bloc 6. Greens 3. PPC 2. 14% undecided. Liberals are up 18 points in Ontario, up 21 points in Quebec. Reaction to Poilievre reaches its lowest point of the campaign at a -9 momentum compared to Carney's plus 26. And additional bonus, Kory, Polera was listening to the pod, and in response to your comment about change versus stability, they added that question. And what they say is that 46% of the people of Canada want change, and 45% of the people of Canada want stability. 18 to 34 is change 57, stability 36. People older than 35, change 38, stability 59.
That tracks.
Which leader will bring about the change we need? Among the people who want change as their dominant thing, 47% say Poilievre. Which leader will provide stability? Among the people who want stability, 66% say Carney.
Yeah.
So Carney's winning the stability vote better than Poilievre is winning the change vote.
Well, has anyone ever looked at Poilievre and thought stability? That's not what his offer has been. His offer has been disruption. His offer has been change, right?
But he's not winning the change vote to the extent that Carney is winning the stability vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think it all tracks, don't you?
What if the Conservatives changed their campaign slogan to time for a change, for a stable change, bring it home, freedom? If they did that, don't you think maybe then they'd get it right?
Scott, you should be wearing it. You should be wearing a "Don't Believe the Polls" hoodie. The choice for Canada's energy future, as we seek to further decarbonize and secure our national electricity grid, is clearly our own made-in-Canada CANDO large reactor technology. CANDOs have been powering the Canadian economy, families, and industry for more than 60 years. Our existing CANDO reactors are being refurbished, updated, and modernized for today's needs and standards to run another 30 years, on time and on budget. But that's not enough. There is a need to build new large CANDOs across the country to help grow our economies with clean baseload power. The Conference Board of Canada will tell you the economic stimulus of that investment will be well worth it. CANDOs use natural uranium fuel, mined and prepared right here at home. No imported enriched fuel needed. That means Trump tariff-proof energy security and reliability. CANDOs also provide vast quantities of life-saving medical isotopes used in hospitals right across the country. CANDOs are more than 90% Canadian, built and run with great-paying union jobs. And credit where credit is due. The province of Ontario and OPG have made the necessary investments in small modular reactors. These will be needed in more remote locations in the future. But it doesn't stop there. Today, the next generation large reactors are being planned for investment in many parts of the country, starting in Ontario. Can-Do Energy and their employees are proud to be leading that effort. Can-Do's, designed by Canadians, built by Canadians, for the benefit of Canadians. Let's power through. Let's get a real live political update. Kory, you were at the Manning Center last night.
Yep.
What's going on?
How's the drafting of the new constitution of the Free Republic of Alberta coming?
I'm not going to lie. I was feeling a little trepidatious about going, given my outspoken comments on the campaign. And I got to say,
not to mention your jacket.
Which one?
I think that one's just for us, Scott.
You show up in royal purple. I've got some news for you all.
Hey,
I've ascended to the throne.
Don't make me pick up my phone and do what I did before we went on air and show you that I'm actually sitting in the parapet of the Chateau Laurier. Like I've made it. I've made it, guys. Anyway, no, I was a little trepidatious. There's been a little controversy about pointing out how the Conservatives were doing earlier on in the campaign. But I got to say, a bit of a hero's welcome. People are concerned, but maybe not surprisingly. Look, the Manning Center, it's what is Strong and Free, whatever. It's gone through a rebranding. But it's not supposed to be a Conservative Party convention. Like this is not a partisan convention. It's supposed to be very much a movement conservative, self-criticism, talk about how you win elections over the longer term, not how you win the next election, like all of that. So it's not totally surprising that there's more receptivity to that, but yeah, look, I a lot of fans of the pod, and I think a very, very good reception.
How are they feeling about the campaign?
Not good. Not good.
No. Okay. Well, you noticed that Abacus caught up with the trend yesterday, and Innovative had the day before. So there's no outliers. So now you either believe I guess Nanos is a bit of
Nanos is a bit, right? So I spend my life on CTV, and most of it is like, wow, the Conservatives are gaining, but that seems to be at odds with everyone else.
Right. So the next event in this election is the debates next week. The pressure's got to be building for them to do something at that debate that makes a difference.
Well, there's 8 days between now and the English debate, or 7 days. So, do we think that yesterday is going to create, and I know we talked about this a week ago, but do we think now maybe there's a second kick at the pause can? Like if Trump literally is going to lay off the tariffs and he's on mission retreat, does that mean there's 5-6 days where the Conservatives can try to turn this into a campaign where there's no chance that Carney's going to be going to Washington or holding a cabinet meeting? There's not going to be an extra tariff slapped on us. Like I'm not advocating that that's how it will, but I think yesterday was a gigantic day, so it's worth asking.
I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the chaos continues. Like that's it's fundamentally unpredictable. It wasn't even clear yesterday immediately what the impact was for Canada. And that's part of the challenge, is that anytime he makes any kind of an announcement like that, because we've been treated a bit differently, are we in or are we out, is going to be part of the discussion. And all it does is drive the issue of Trump and tariffs back into the headlines, and put it top of mind for Canadians. So I think there's no chance that he stops talking entirely about tariffs over the next 8 days. And in fact, of course, because now the tariffs are not just about Canada, but they're global, he has entirely different sets of incentives to continue talking about that. So I think that makes it reinsert itself into the campaign, and probably again to the advantage of Carney.
So, Scott, I mean, your kind of answer, I mean, I agree with that, Jordan, and because I don't think he's going away. But Scott, your kind of answer implies that maybe if Trump went away, that other fundamentals of the campaign might assert themselves and the Liberal lead would start to drift away, right? And that is, I mean, because you have to be thinking about these things if you're in the Conservative campaign right now, like what is the road from here to there? And so that's one. Or do they need to do something more dramatic to shake this thing up?
Well, there's no indication that they have a plan for something more dramatic. I mean, really what we've seen is they made a first 10 days adjustment in terms of how they interlock with the Trump message. I think maybe it's arguably a little bit more finessed and they have a maple leaf on their podium. But just to argue the devil's side of it, yesterday, I think you could make a case that yesterday is the kind of there's an alternative universe where Trump didn't do anything yesterday, and the issue of the day was set by the Conservatives. So they say 3 strikes and you're out. It's a big crime thing. You get a bunch of people arguing online about that's bullshit. You're going to have to use Section 33. That's an affront to our democracy. Then you get other people saying it doesn't work. Then you get people saying, asking every single one of the leaders, they're tiptoeing around it because they don't want to get on the wrong side of the political wedge. But on the other hand, they don't want to endorse this horseshit approach, which has been demonstrated to fail. So they owned the day until Trump turned the day into tariffs again. And so if you get 6 days where Trump doesn't do that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, does that help? Do you drive it? Does it start to resonate in Lower Mainland in 9:05? Like that felt like a pretty purpose-built announcement for a community like the 9:05, an area like the 9:05. My own view is that this issue is set. I kind of hew a little bit more to Jordan's take, which is yesterday just reminds us that we've institutionalized the instability. He wakes up one day and moves the markets 1,000 points that way. He wakes up the next day, they move into 1,000 points the other. What happens in 90 days? What if he decides that he doesn't like how much people are lunching on him 2 days from now? And the Wall Street Journal writes an editorial saying he's a nutless, weakened leader. And so he decides that he's going to go out and, provoke another confrontation. The PMO, like, boy, you want to talk about chaos. They literally got an answer saying, yes, you are included. And then after a bit of scramble and appeal, like, okay, no, you're not included. Like, just, it's a fucking clown show. So it's hard to imagine that the clowns are all going to like just, retreat from the circus and pack themselves into the car. But that's got to be the Conservative hope, don't you think? What are they going to change? What would they do different? How do you make your campaign different when Pierre Poilievre is the inflexible, unchangeable instrument?
Well, I think we're seeing that you don't. Like the announcement yesterday, and I mean, this is maybe a counterpoint to you. I actually think even in the absence of what Trump did on tariff, drove back to Trump. Like, what does the 3 strikes law remind you guys of? It's the United States. It's the Republicans in the U.S. Even the framing that was delivered centrally by the campaign for Poilievre is a tip back to MAGA, a tip back to Trump. And then to top it off, not only did he do an announcement in a frame that is Trumpy, he went and had another bad interaction with a female journalist, which caused headlines as well. So this guy is absolutely like, it's Poilievre versus Poilievre on his ability to pivot, and he can't do it. Like he is driving the issue set also back to Trump every single day by the choices that he's making in his communications.
Kory, do you see a vulnerability in the Liberal campaign right now?
Well, I think we saw it, in terms of his response to, Brookfield, all of that. I'm a rich guy who's not in it for you, and very sensitive around that. I think that's the biggest vulnerability that we've seen. But hearing Jordan right now, I think that's just so much bigger in terms of what's driving the electorate. In terms of stability, change, all of that. I don't know. I feel like I'm shouting at the clouds on this, being with Trump and being viewed as Trump and channeling Trump is like how to lose this election, and the campaign and Poilievre can't stop doing it. They just can't stop, won't stop. That's the problem.
And they're doing another big rally tonight, which is Brampton. So presumably, or wherever the Christ it is. Sorry, we went through that already. Woolwich or
but
it's going to be
like,
huge, right? But it'll be
yeah.
very
Rallies
Trumpy.
are more harmful than helpful now.
Yeah, yeah, but like, they don't accept it. It's like, if you're wearing hoodies that say "I don't believe the polls," you're getting, like a half step away from stop the steal.
Right.
Like it's like we're getting into absolute insanity, like Trump land, in terms of the things you're saying and things that you're doing. And like I just don't see how you win an election doing that. Like, you're winning part of the election, whether it's like change or stability, but it's change, but it's look at Trump, like, do we have tariffs today? Do we not? Like, are you going to be, crazy change? Are you channeling Trump, or do you want to like channel Stephen Harper, which is like stability and economics and manage the economy? And, I think they're chasing the wrong, the wrong car on this.
And those rallies are a dynamic force. Like, they're not just the same problem that they were at the beginning, if you agree with us that they evoke the wrong, because they're turning into grievance festivals, right? You're getting people saying, don't believe the polls. They'll get into like, go fuck you.
But
We
wait
don't
a
believe
second.
in
It's,
you.
it's a fucking carnival. It's a fucking carnival. If you put 10 people in one of these rallies and started chanting, lock them up or stop the steal, or like you name the MAGA rally thing, do you think everyone there would chant?
Yeah.
It's loser town, right? Like that this whole notion that the polls are wrong, like they are now preaching to a narrower and narrower base of their own converted followers. This is not growth.
This is not the first campaign I've heard say the polls are wrong.
No.
Did they emblazon it on hoodies?
Yeah. But it's always lame. It's always lame. I've been the mayor of that loser town.
It's loser talk. Like, it's what losers say.
Our internals are a lot better.
I have said it.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
but
I've been there.
look,
Our internals are better.
maybe-
I'll tell you what we're hearing on the doors. It's very different, and we've got at least 70 ridings targeted that should be switchers. So I frankly, it's not possible, right?
Well,
and then people go off, and then
cue
But
the
I
slide.
do
they
want
start
to
leaving at 5 o'clock in the
there
afternoon.
is a
to go to the bar.
difference.
That's a
There is a difference between that type of commentary and putting that on a banner. Like, there's a difference between pushing that message in a way that suggests something false is happening.
Yeah. Cue the slide whistle and the little clown on like a little tiny bike, slowly, going around the ring of the circus. Like, it's.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the bearded lady who's going to be voting conservative. In fact, she's a conservative candidate.
For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight. Okay.
I want to come back to your question, though, David, because I do think there's one other weakness for the Liberals other than what Kory talked about. And we've started to see Carney talk about a strong government. So the coded language asking for a majority is coming out. And as I have talked about before, but I think it remains doubly true when you're asking for a specific type of government, there is always a risk. There is a risk that this is a reminder of the notion that Liberals feel entitled to people's votes, that they feel entitled to a certain outcome, and it is very difficult to play that well. So that's making an appearance with 2.5 weeks left to go. There's a lot of time for that to go off the rails. Tonally, it's a delicate dance, and we have yet to see if Carney's going to be able to carry that off.
I have a slightly different concern.
I've seen polling data. I can't remember who did it, which organization. So whoever did it, God bless you, and I apologize for not remembering, that overwhelmingly Canadians want a majority government to result from this election.
Yes, but overwhelmingly, Canadians want to be the one who are going to choose the outcome of the election. They don't like being told what it's going to be.
Okay, we'll see. I'm less worried about that. I have a worry for the next 5 days, and that is on this whole issue of whether there's a post-Trump tariff
Of course
hole.
you do.
Huh? I have a worry.
Of course you do.
I have a worry. Yeah. I have a room full of worries. I like to go in there and I sit down
Scott has
for
like
a while.
He's got like a peddler sack.
I take a bag of sour cream and onion, old Dutch chips, and I just sit there and I chew and I talk to the worries. I just, to me, the one thing about this Trump post-Trump tariff turnaround, whether there's a whole, it in some ways isn't so much what the conservatives do, but whether the liberals say, all right, well, now we've got a few like kind of openish days between now and the debate. So this is a good time. There's some internal campaign pressures. We were supposed to get a day where we were going to talk about, pharma policy, or we were going to talk about, oil seeds and innovation. And I'm just like my worry is that they start to do that kind of, they behave like a regular campaign as though it's a regular schedule and they have a regular candidate. I just don't want to see them burn days like that. I want them to like continue to find ways to plug into the instability. So I'd rather take the risk of saying we need a stable government, a strong government that's able to maintain this risk, because at least they're still plugging into the Trump threat and the tariff threat. I worry about like campaigns are their own weird dynamic, and there's all these pressures inside going, guys, for Christ's sake, we've been trying to get, left-handed dart players onto the announcement board since the beginning of the campaign, and now's our chance.
Like, look, if I were Carney, if I were running that campaign, every day that you can be in Ottawa being PM, that you do that. And like, if you have to do like, I don't know, 25 events between now and the end of the campaign, do that. Let Poilievre do 75. Let him do 150. Let him do whatever, right? But like less is more, and more focused on Trump and stability. Like that's what your ballot is, and do that. And forget all the other shit.
And no liberal rallies.
No
liberal rallies.
Fewer Q, the amount of Q&A he's doing, I think, is good, but I wouldn't add more.
Stay on your thing, but don't run around all over the country doing all of that. You're winning on one issue and stability and calm and all of that, and that's what you should do.
Yeah, but I would say he is opening up like pretty much every day in his Q&A now. There's something that gets dropped, right? There's a fumble every day. Yesterday it was on private healthcare in Alberta. Earlier this week it was on tax havens. So that stuff can add up too.
Talking about what and why, and I agree with you, Jordan. I wouldn't be asking for majorities and all of that. That will happen or it won't. He's not selling whether it's a majority or not. He's not it's calm governance. Focus on that and let the other guy run around and do whatever the hell it is he's doing.
It could be a trick of the light, but Kory, I think that Lady Laurier is just standing behind you. And I think for people who are watching on YouTube, they should freeze this and do a little. There's something going on in that spooky castle turret.
I am in the fucking turret of the Chateau Laurier. I have made it.
All right,
I've made it.
Just let me throw one idea on the table here, which is that, building off this, Poilievre's not winning the change vote to the extent that he could be winning the change vote. When I hear his attacks are against Carney. And I know that the speeches are full of all kinds of other things, but the attacks are against Carney. I'm wondering if they couldn't make more ground by going hammer and tong against the Liberal Party rather than Mark Carney. The party had a record that people were unhappy with, and the party has been in office for 10 years now. We were all thought that fourth term thing had some potential to it as a marker. And I'm not talking about a just like Justin type of thing with Carney. I'm just talking about, look what he leads. He leads, and I know they're kind of doing it, but it feels to me like they could remind people more of what they were so unhappy about the government.
Yeah, except the Carney campaign is all the same policies, all the same change, but none of the asshole.
Right.
That's basically what they're running on. And they've allowed them to slip out of that.
Right? Maybe all the same policies as the Conservatives.
Well, but and the attack is not that it's the same. It's oh, well, he said it, but he doesn't mean it. Which is it's a weak sauce attack, right? It's, you're actually admitting that it's well, it's the same thing. They took our policy. They're saying they're going to do the same thing, but they're not really going to do it. It's an affirmational attack. In a way.
Ben, now's, none of this, what's at the doors, none of this going by gut. Now is a moment, if you're the Conservatives, and it must be now, where you have to go to research. You have to find unique. You got to Death Star this thing. It's not the big, broad carny or the big, broad liberal. You've got to find the small little chute that allows you to slide in. That one shot blows the whole goddamn apparatus up. They've got to find that.
I mean,
Scott, I've seen
the campaign is incapable of doing that.
But they got to find some
Clearly.
research and say, this is the connection to the liberals in Kearney that resonates with people. And now we explode that. I still don't see them doing
they
much
would
in
have
terms
to
of
drop
paid.
the personal, the tone, which is giving Poilievre life. Like,
I've seen no evidence that this campaign is at all interested in research at any fucking level. No, none.
Well, that's my point, though. Is
None.
Now is a moment where you have to
like,
be informed by what focus groups tell you and inform you. Advantage it.
Like when you're running around in fucking hoodies saying "Don't believe the polling," like you are like the Flat Earth Society campaign. Like that's what you've actually reduced yourself to.
But we don't know that's the view of the corporate campaign. That could just be followers.
Nobody runs into that, in a Conservative Party rally with like some unsanctioned, sweater. Like, but where is evidence that they've done any polling and that they're listening to any polling? Like, because I would say if they were, I know I've got a bad name with some people in the Conservative Party for pointing out at the beginning of the campaign that, the election has pivoted towards Trump. That was true in fucking December. It was true in fucking December. And I know because, I was running a campaign for Doug Ford in which we were doing polling and we're listening to that polling. And that was true in December. And it was true in January and February and March, right? But I see no evidence that they have actually polled and that they are actually like following polling and research and anything that is even remotely conventional in how you manage a fucking campaign. And that's why they're losing. And they're losing. Like, let's just pause and point out they have blown a 25 fucking point lead. Which is like, you want to talk, we talk sometimes about campaign malpractice. Blowing a 25-point lead and being like 10 points down is fucking campaign malpractice at the highest fucking level. And I'm sorry to have to point that out, conservatives, but, that is the actual reality.
Losing Ontario by 20 points.
Yes. But like since December, right?
Right.
So, if they're polling, they're not listening to it. And like they are polling, but like I don't want to listen to it because that's not what I want to believe. And, whatever this is, but like this campaign is going to be studied for decades as the biggest fucking disaster in terms of having lost a massive lead in ways that are so obvious with so much information that says you're fucking it up.
And Jagmeet Singh says, "Thank God it isn't about me, this campaign."
Well,
thank God I'm not going down.
Wow,
it's not.
I don't
Like,
know.
it really
grateful he
isn't.
should be.
And I mean, it's cold comfort for New Democrats, but they may be struggling, but if they go down, so do the Conservatives.
Well, Scott, it looks like everybody's quit.
Well, you know what?
Like, I'm still in my room full of worries, and you guys are all measuring a length of rope and a stool.
To be clear, unlike the Liberals, the New Democrats will not be laying down and playing dead for the duration of the campaign. That's something reserved for power broker parties. They're going to go out and get the work done, but they're like the fates are tied, right?
Hey, why not spend millions of dollars in pre-read advertising to destroy the NDP? Because that's how you win, for fuck's sake.
I mean, if you take a 20-point lead,
Well,
you use it to settle scores.
Wait a second. In fairness, through the fall, I was talking about how clever it was of them to be going after all of those NDP seats in working class parts of the country and shearing off those NDP voters from Singh. And
looked like they're broadening their coalition.
It looked brilliant in the fall when they didn't need the NDP. But now that they need the NDP, it doesn't look as brilliant.
Come back, baby. Baby, come back.
Well,
I can change. I'm for change. 47% of people think I'm changed. I'll change, honey. I'll do the dishes.
Look, the much bigger problem is like dumping, what was it, 20 million, whatever it was, in ads against
On Trudeau.
On Trudeau, and ensuring that he left, right? Like, if you actually, push him down to, 18, 19 points in the polls, it becomes an existential issue for the Liberals to get rid of Trudeau, and you lose Trudeau.
Yeah,
And
I think a lot of that blame,
I-
to be fair, should be directed at the NDP, because if Jagmeet Singh could have looked into, and it wasn't like this was an impossible scenario to imagine, he should have killed them when he had Prince Trudeau on the throne.
You know what? And maybe if New Democrats were harder people, they would have done that. But I got to tell you, if they had done that, we would have a Conservative majority government. We would not have pharmacare. We would not have the dental program. We would not have workers' rights legislation.
as
I can't lament that choice.
As crafty and brilliant as Jagmeet Singh's questions in question period are, the Liberals did not get to 19 points because of them. They got there because of tens of millions of dollars of Conservative Party attack ads, which pushed the Liberals down to being in the teens, and allowed Trudeau to escape. Not because he wanted to leave. Like, Trudeau, left clawing by his fucking fingernails to try to stay on, but pounding him down to that level with pre-writ advertising is going to go down in history as one of the biggest fucking strategic errors that any campaign has ever made.
Okay, but there's 18 days to go, and I'm sorry, but I'm not conducting the postmortem just yet. I've got my room full of worries. It's not going to get smaller. It's going to get bigger.
It's all about the debates. Do you know like the biggest loser things, other than don't believe the polls, is we're going to turn it around in the debates. Like, this is loser talk. Like, when you're down there, what I say to you the other day, David. This is like you're standing outside somebody's window with the ghetto blaster, playing a love song, and saying, like, if she listens to this, she's going to get back together with me. It's that level of cringe rom-com loser.
Anybody want to hear me sing Peter Gabriel?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, guys, it's a red.
In your eyes.
You know what? There's nothing creepy about the grand
for the
gesture.
future.
Yeah. Okay.
Scott, Corey's right. Scott, fuck off with your words. Corey's right. The Liberals are going to win this election, and that's not going to change anymore. The Liberals are going to win this election. The debate matters. The French debate matters because the majority is in Quebec, whether or not it's a Liberal majority. So if Carney completely face plants and the Bloc come back, then it could conceivably be a Liberal minority. But the Liberals aren't going to lose this election.
It's not about French. It's not about French.
There is no world. There is no world in which these guys are not winning a majority. The only question is, what kind of opposition are they going to face?
But that's going to be the NDP campaign after the debate.
Well,
Jordan just said right there, it will be for fucking certain.
Because Scott and I know more about French and winning French debates and and scoring people in French debates than anyone else in Canada.
Could you tell us about debate expectations also, Kory?
Yeah, no, that's all. Yes, yeah, sure. I've got my pants on.
Should I have pulled out or something?
Yeah, something like that. But look, it's not. I don't think it's about how you do in French. Like, I really don't. It's not like people in Quebec are a bunch of dummies who don't.
No, I don't
realize
think it's the language thing. They know his language. They know what his language skills are at this point. Yeah.
It's about do they believe that you are the right guy to square off against Trump? Not about whether you're the right guy to correctly speak in French and know the nuances of Quebec culture and all the rest. That's not what it is. Like, it's not a news flash that this guy's French is 4 or 5 times as good as mine. It's
all right. Well, maybe we should wrap this up before the Conservatives who've watched this on YouTube fucking.
Oh my God, the YouTube comments would
immolate.
They're going to storm the turret, Kory. I hope that.
That's right. Get out of the shadow, Kory.
I've got a turret and I've got a 3-pound dog here that is vicious.
3-pound dog with 2 teeth.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do blessings and curses.
All right, I'll go first. My blessing is to Judy Trin, and this is by definition, therefore, a curse on the Conservative campaign and Pierre Poilievre personally. Judy Trin, my friend and colleague at CTV, asked a question yesterday about foreign interference, and Poilievre blows her off when she attempts to ask a follow-up, because follow-ups, according to the many, many strict rules, procedures, and constraints of the Conservative campaign when it comes to the media, will not permit follow-up questions. He starts to engage with her, and she's forced to yell her question to try to get attention and get a response. He refers to her as a protester. And this is of a piece, as Jordan hinted at earlier. You know, we see the media are literally penned up like veal at each one of these events. We see that there is such strict constraints on what they can ask, when they can ask it. They're being pre-screened. The CBC hasn't been allowed to ask a question since December 1999, and it's just an outrage. And so if you want to send the signal that you're Trump, if you wish to indicate that you have zero faith in your own abilities to confront tough issues, and if you literally want to institutionalize an anti-democratic spirit, keep at it. But you're going to lose this election, and thank Christ. I hope people see it as a referendum on the way that they're treating an important part of our democratic function, which is actually exposing yourself to media scrutiny.
It's not going to be about media.
I know, but it ought to be to a degree.
It's going to be about how we talk to Laura Stone. Like, you know, how many questions did he get on Laura Stone? Like, and look, you know, gross. Like, it was fucking gross. And he is losing women, and losing women massively. And if you want to know why, go and watch that clip. Like,
well, as we say at the bar at 11:30 at night, you got to know you have a problem if you want to fix the problem.
You know,
Yep.
like, gross.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think Judy Trin conducted herself fabulously and
sure
is a
did.
legend.
Kory,
So-
women 50 plus is 50
Like all of
54
them?
liberal, 27 conservative.
Like,
Is that
like all of them? Is it not all of them?
What? Say that
But
number
like-
again.
look,
no, Dave?
like
What was that?
54 27?
There you go.
But David, I've
They
never
vote.
seen a conservative campaign with any hope of winning where you did not win, like, you know, men over 55, like 80-20, and women like 60-40, right? Like, that's basically what the math of that is.
Right.
And you might lose women overall, but you've got to win 55 plus women. And like, they are getting slaughtered. They're getting slaughtered by women. And the response to that is to, in the Trumpiest fashion possible, do an apple-eating fucking parade of, you know, disparaging fucking nastiness to Laura Stone, of all people. Like, to Laura Stone, like one of the nicest people you meet in the gallery. Like, this is not, you know, I don't want to like name less nice people in the gallery who, you know, hector you with like nasty questions, but like, this is somebody who's respectful and professional and all of that, and you're going to do that, and you're going to do it on rally size. Like, you know, yeah, it's like, you know, if the conservatives lose this campaign, as it looks like they're going to, it's going to be through sheer fucking stubbornness and stupidity, because that's what that is. It's stubbornness and stupidity.
Yep.
Yep. Blessing or curse, Jordan?
So I have a curse going out to Saskatchewan Party MLA Raquel Hilbert. So a little bit of tape came out. Turns out that a couple weeks ago in the legislature, she casually referred to Jagmeet Singh as a terrorist and was not at the time called out on it. That is vile. That is racist. And that hurts not just people who are running for public office, but it hurts all people who are Sikh. It hurts everybody who might want to have some part in a public life. It is a disgusting message to send. And frankly, it shouldn't be tolerated in any party. So my curse is going out to her and this. This is stupid.
Right. Kory?
I want to do a blessing to the to the Manning Center, and I think it's so important that actually parties and point out to the broadband folks as well. Like, I think it's so important for parties to have a space to actually talk about bigger issues, talk about the movement, discuss things without the partisan lens on it, but actually within the movement. And it's a great place to be, and very very encouraged by the kinds of conversations that are going on here.
Yeah.
Kind of a dangerous thing to hold in the middle of a writ, though, eh? Because
Yeah.
anytime you want to have free-flowing ideas and people sort of pushing the envelope and bringing new ideas in, as Kim Campbell said, election's not a good time for that.
Yeah, I think it's inadvertent, but
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like broadband is happening right now as well, so it's but I think it rallies the troops and gives people a space to re-energize.
Yeah, it's a different crowd, but I think it's important to have out there. But yeah, it's unusual to have it during a writ for sure. But
Right.
But I think it's important.
Well, and just note that the Lighthizer appearance is getting some notice, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure. Well, but you could make that a good thing if you wanted to, right? You could have pushback on it. There's lots of things you could do, but I'm sure we'll just hector Laura Stone or some other woman and try to drive our vote down a little bit more.
all right, my blessing goes out to you, Kory, because this was a courageous performance today. This is exactly what we want this show to be, people speaking honestly, even when it's difficult. And I know that you're going to get some bad email traffic and WhatsApp traffic today. And I'm sorry that you're going to have to go through that. But thanks for your honesty and candor today, because that's what people come to this podcast for.
Well,
You're
you've been
here.
doing you and Scott have been doing it for 2 years on this, and the reason that the Liberal Party is about to win an election is in large measure you and Scott speaking truth to your own party, as difficult as that's been. But through truth is how you get improvement. It's look, I'm not fucking Nostradamus for pointing out that after you blow a 25-point lead and you're 8 points back, that it ain't working. That is there is no cause and effect. That is commenting on what has actually occurred and pointing out that it's not working. And do you know what's really sad, David, is that you have to point that out because it's so fucking obvious that is what the situation is. And it's not heresy to point out when your campaign is controlled flight into terrain. And it's actually happened. You're commenting on what has actually happened and that it's not working. And, look, I don't think that's brave. I think it's just I have a fucking brain.
Well, thanks for doing it. All right. I want to thank our sponsors, Can Do and Enbridge today for their support of this podcast. I want to thank my colleagues for appearing here with me and all of you accursed who are watching and listening every day. Appreciate your support and see you on the trail. Take care. We'll be back tomorrow.